Hello everyone, this is Mickey Baines with Fourth Dimension Partners. Thanks for joining us today. Today I'm going to introduce you to our recruitment tracking sheet. It is a tool that I developed many years ago when I was running an adult education program as a way for our recruitment staff to better understand their recruitment pool, all the prospects they had in their pool, who they were, as well as to get a better feel of how their numbers were shaping up for this term or for the year. So I'm going to jump right in and show you the tool and walk you through how it works. It's actually an Excel document that we created, and I had the staff initially, when we first rolled this out, submit this every week. And I would say after about 8 to 10 months, we probably rolled it back to every 2 weeks. And after a year to year and a half, we were able to discontinue using it because the staff had a better idea of who their prospects were and what their pool looked like. But I did still use it as a training tool for all new staff as they came on board. So let me show you how it works. I'm going to scroll down and actually start at the bottom of the sheet. Again, I had staff initially submit this every week, and at the bottom, I just had them put some notes, things I may want to know. If it was something that occurred that was very positive, it would be highlighted with the green text. If it was negative, we would use the red text, and we just use the generic black text if it's just a general note I needed to know. Great example, if we're working on recruitment for an open house, and we had an email that went out and it was not a very effective email, the staff member may put a little note in there. That way, if I'm responsible or someone else is responsible for recruitment for the open house, I can see whether or not a tactic that we're using was effective. So that's just generally where the notes were. And the middle section here is the meat of it, and this is really where I was asking staff to really think about who they were. So every week they would have to kind of go back at the end of the week and look at all of the prospects they were meeting with. A big part at the time of our recruitment strategy was built on the strength of the relationships we were building with prospects. And I would, at the time, would ask someone, at a staff meeting, tell me a little bit about some of the folks you met with last week. And they say, well, I met with 7 or 8 people, and they may be able to really recall 1 or 2 of those meetings. And that wasn't the way we were going to achieve our strategy. If a prospect were to call you after meeting with him or her a few weeks back and you can't remember who they are, and it takes you a while to get into a system to find them, that prospect's going to pick up on the fact that you don't know who they are. And that was going to defeat a lot of our strategy. So this is a way where they had to go back at the end of the week and type in some information about all of their prospects. You'll see here in this column here, this is our current prospect pool, folks that you may have reached out to in contact over the past week, the date you reached out to them, and the mode of communication you used. Here are the options that we did: email, phone, letter, postcard, interview, or other. Primarily, of course, it was email and phone or an interview were our 3 primary tools. Here's our column for new inquiries that kind of came in. Again, how they were able to reach out to them over the week. And these were the new applications that came in. The only real addition here with this segment is this column for the inquiry date. I wanted the staff to be able to start thinking about how long it took them to receive an inquiry and convert them to an applicant, so that they would know, hey, it's taking me on average 6 or 7 weeks. Why did it take me 10 months for this particular person? All right, so that was that's how that section worked. And then here's where the quantitative information kind of comes in. And I wanted the staff to really also have an opportunity to understand how their prospect pool was shaping up for each semester or potentially for the year. And so they had to fill out for each day of the week how many inquiries they received, how many prospect interviews they had, whether that was face-to-face or over the phone, if they performed any additional transcript evaluations, which was something that happened occasionally. They may have to fill out an additional transcript evaluation with a prospect that's in between the inquiry and applicant stage. And these were the number of applications we received. And again, this is on a daily basis, and it just, a random formula or a generic formula that Excel gives you to tabulate these numbers. And we would color code them based on the numbers we needed for the week for this particular staff person. We may have wanted 22 inquiries for the week. If he were to receive 36, he would color code that green, because that's higher than the number. And for example, if we needed 10 interviews, then if he only had 6, he would highlight that red. And that color coding is a manual process. I want them to physically go in and change the color so that they know how well they did on this particular week. And you may be asking yourself, well, how did they know what their numbers were for the week? So if this report was for the first week of February, and then on Monday the 8th, Mickey sends it to me, I would reply back and say, Mickey, thanks for sending the report. I received it. Here are your numbers you need for next week. And it was my job as a director of a program to understand what those particular numbers were. And just to be clear, did I know exactly how many prospect interviews each person needed to have every week? I did not. But I did know, based on the week of the year, about how busy we should be. So I knew about how many inquiries we would need on a given week. I knew about how many inquiries we could convert to an interview status, and I knew how many interviews we would typically convert to application status. And so I would just use that as the tool or basis and the foundation for each of those numbers. And the best part about this was my opportunity as a supervisor when my staff sent these to me. When we met for our one-on-ones, this was the focus of our agenda. This is where we started. We would look at these numbers, we would talk about highlights from the folks that they met with and spoke to over the past week. And then if I look here at the notes, we'd talk about any things here. So received an odd question from a prospect about tutors for writing. Can we discuss? And that would be a coaching opportunity that we would have when we talk about how to address those particular questions and give the answers to the staff so they were more comfortable and confident with the questions they received. And so that's how we used our recruitment tracking sheet. Again, if this is of interest to you and you'd like a copy of our template, hey, you know what? We have it on the website for a download. If you go to fourthdimensionpartners.com and then look in our banner, this little second little bubble here will take you to this one, help your enrollment team improve with our recruitment tracking sheet. Just click there and it'll take you to this page, fill out the form, hit download now, and you will get a copy of the recruitment tracking sheet. It is in an open Excel document. You can feel free to edit it and modify it however you see fit for your recruitment team's needs, or if you're a recruitment person yourself, for your own needs to help you as you look at your prospect pool. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let us know. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much.